My name is Marco Hanna from PhoneDog.com, and this is the Weekly Bone. All the anticipation of Motorola's X device has built up until last week, where Motorola and Google have announced the brand new Moto X device. The Moto X has a 4.7-inch display with a resolution of 1280 by 720. It is an AMOLED display, not an LCD or any type other display. It does have a 1.7 gigahertz dual-core processor and 2 gigabytes of RAM, and it is available in 16 and 32 gigabyte configuration. The Moto X is actually assembled here in the USA in Texas, and they have this really cool software called Moto Maker, which will allow a customer to go in and design basically their own device. They can do different designs, different materials. There's some really cool stuff that you can do on that website. For now, it's actually exclusive to AT&T. In a few weeks, it will open up to the other carriers who have the Motorola X device, but right now it is for AT&T, and they do promise that once you put your order in there, you'll have the phone shipped to you within the 4 days. To be honest, I actually expected a bit more from Motorola in terms of hardware and design. I mean, it's a great device, it looks good, it runs an almost stock Android, but I just wanted more power, maybe a quad-core processor. You can get the Motorola X for a 16GB model for $199 or a 32GB model for $249. Windows Phone is still a very young operating system, and a lot of carriers have been hesitant on adding Windows Phone to their lineup, but now you can sort of scratch off Sprint because their new device with HTC called the HTC 8XT. If the device sort of sounds familiar, it's basically the HTC 8X, which was their flagship Windows Phone 8 device, mixed with their 8S, which was their sort of mid-range device in a more curvy, more easy to use, and smaller device than both of those phones. The device has a 4.3-inch display, a 1.4 gigahertz dual-core processor, and 1 gigabyte of RAM. The specs are definitely not on the high-end range of the phones on Sprint's network, and even the display is not HD. And Windows Phone 8 is a very visually intensive operating system, and having high-resolution displays is almost an essential part of Windows Phone because there are a lot of great flat-looking images and designs, and having a non-HD display sort of ruins the whole operating system. For a phone priced at $99, you're definitely not going to be competing with iPhone 5 or Samsung Galaxy S4, but you are competing with last generation products like the Samsung Galaxy S3 and the iPhone 4S. Lastly, our own Alex Wagner has reported about Apple's iPad 5 and iPhone 5C casing in a recently leaked video. A group on YouTube have recently posted 2 videos displaying the iPad 5 case back and the iPhone 5C. The iPad 5 has a iPad mini-esque backing to it. It's very flat. It has a curve on the side, but basically it is a complete flat back on the back side. They have shrunken down the bezel on the sides and top, so it's actually a smaller form factor to hold. And basically, I mean, it looks like an iPad mini, but on an iPad size scale. On the other side, the iPhone 5C appears to be built by the same sort of construction as those old white polycarbonate unibody MacBooks. So we have a polycarbonate outer shell. It's very colorized, very glossy. I'm pretty sure it'll pick up scratches like crazy. But if Apple's going to go ahead and choose the 5C, we're almost certain that colors will be a big part of the iPhone 5C. Well, that's all the time I have for this week's episode of The Weekly Bone. You can follow me on Twitter at Marco M. Hanna, and make sure to follow all the stuff here at PhoneDog, and I will see you guys in the next video.